Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Ron, and in this video I'd like to review 5 tips to better cinematic footage with your DJI Mavic Air. Now, to be clear, I'm not going to be sharing anything magical or new in today's video. These 5 tips have been mentioned dozens of times in previous videos throughout YouTube. I just want to remind you of these cinematic tips as more of a refresher in case you're not using them currently. So if you're not up for a refresher, that's fine. We'll catch up with you in the next video, and I appreciate you stopping by. But for everyone else, including myself, I sometimes forget to use these tricks when I'm shooting. So for the rest of us, let's just jump right into it. Okay, so in the first tip, don't forget to make use of those intelligent flight modes. You'll find the intelligent flight mode icon on the left side of your DJI Go 4 app, as shown here. So you have 2 really good modes for getting better cinematic footage. The first, which is cinematic mode. In cinematic mode, the braking distance for your Mavic Air is extended, and the aircraft will slow more gently until it stops, keeping the footage more smooth and stable, even if the control inputs are a bit choppy. Here's an example of what that looks like. Also, your Mavic Air will transition more slowly to full speed, even if you're full throttle on the sticks. Okay, so the second intelligent flight mode is tripod mode. In tripod mode, the maximum flight speed is limited. The responsiveness to the stick movements is also reduced for smoother, more controlled movements. Here's a look at tripod mode. Now, the difference between these 2 modes is tripod mode just limits your speed, your flight speeds, and is better used in close quarters where you don't have a lot of room, while cinematic mode you can fly at normal speeds and it just accelerates or decelerates more smoothly. Cinematic mode will glide your drone to a halt without sudden stops when the drone brakes, and is better used in a more open area, like areas like this or fields, as I shot with the Mavic Air earlier. Okay, third tip, change your gimbal settings. Gimbal settings control the speed at which your gimbal tilts up and down. A higher value means a faster moving gimbal, and a lower value means a slower gimbal. So with a slower moving gimbal, the shots appear more controlled and less jerky. To adjust these settings, go to advanced settings, then max gimbal pitch speed, and set the values between 5 and 10. Now, there's no perfect setting I can give you. You'll want to play around with these a bit and see what feels best for you for the shots and the movements that you're doing, but a value between 5 and 10 seems to work well for most shots, and I leave the other gimbal settings alone. Okay, fourth tip. Make sure your camera settings are set to manual and not auto. This will give you a consistent exposure level when you're processing your footage later in post. This keeps your exposure levels locked in so everything has the same look and feel, and the lighting levels aren't bouncing around, making the footage more difficult to edit later on. Again, this just helps with keeping a more cinematic look and overall feel to the footage. Okay, fifth tip. Shoot in d-cinelike. D-cinelike gives you a nice flat color profile for better color grading in post later. You can color grade yourself or apply one of thousands of LUTs that exist out there on the internet. A quick Google search, you'll find tons of LUTs to use for your footage. Just keep in mind that if you buy a LUT online, and it doesn't mean your footage is automatically going to look like the footage from the site that it was bought from. Any LUT you buy will be quite specific to the characteristics of the footage it was originally created for. In short, throwing a LUT or a preset may not give you the exact same result, and additional color grading will often be needed to achieve that desired look. To adjust the settings for this, just go into your camera settings, select the camera icon, and select d-cinelike. So I hope you found these 5 tips to be helpful, even if it's just a refresher or a reminder for some of you. And remember, you can follow me on Instagram. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell to get notified of future videos. Let me know in the comments below if you have any specific questions or ideas for future videos. As always, I appreciate all the active subscribers, and if you're not an active subscriber, I hope you'll think about subscribing. So until next time, happy flying. And if you're still here, here's one bonus tip for some of you that this isn't even for the Mavic Air, this is for the DJI Spark. I know a lot of you still own the Spark, as I do. And one of the best tips I can give you if you have the Spark is it only shoots in 30 frames per second, as most of you know, is to drop that 30 frame per second footage into a 24 frame per second timeline. It'll slow the footage just a little bit and make everything look a lot more smooth. So that's just a bonus tip if you have the DJI Mavic Air. Or I'm sorry, if you have the DJI Spark. And if you're still here, that's all I got, guys. Nothing else. I'm just over here checking out the Duke Farm Arboretum. We got a pretty cool selection of orchids in here. If you've never been here, it's worth checking out. Take it easy.